right, y'all. It is 4:15, so we're going to get started if everybody's cool with that. First off, this is the first time I'm hosting a panel, so sorry. And thank you. If you hear a lot of ums and if I stare at you awkwardly, it's just because it's my first time. Let's just get started. Obviously, this is cosplaying as a person of color. It's a little bit about myself. I am Black and Hispanic, so I feel like I do have some space to speak about this. I have been cosplaying since 2007. That was the first convention that I went to, which was Anime Boston. So I am an OG cosplayer, like I like to say. And my favorite anime is Fruits Basket. I don't want to hear no hate. It's one of the best animes to date. I don't care what anybody says about it. And I am a very avid manga collector. So Tokyo Ghoul is my #1 manga. I'm sorry, there's no room for debate. That is the #1 manga in my book.
The anime butchered it.
Oh my goodness, the anime destroyed it. And then they sat here and they were talking about, oh yeah, we're gonna get we have an announcement. And it was that little thing, so whatever. Why this is important. So obviously, if you're here, you know that cosplaying as a person of color is not the same as cosplaying as somebody who is white, or anybody who is of a lighter complexion. The darker your skin is, the harder it is to live day-to-day life. So cosplaying is already something that is surrounded by white people, East Asians. Like, if you look around at cosplay conventions, usually when you see people like, oh, can I take a picture with you? It's not really anybody who ever looks like us. So I thought it was very, very important to bring this to POPCult. POPCult thrives on inclusivity, and they really stand for making sure that everyone feels like they belong. And that's why I was like, you know what, this is the perfect place for me to put this panel. And I was surprised that there wasn't a panel like this already. This is my 3rd year here, so if it had to be me, then so be it. I was gonna do it. So BIPOC people should be allowed to enjoy cosplay like everybody else. That is the one thing that I really want to make sure that I embed into everybody's head today. It does not matter what your skin color is. You should be able to cosplay any character that you enjoy. It does not matter. It does not matter. Skin color, body type, disability, none of that should stop you or allow any judgment. Obviously, for a lot of us, if you're a person of color, depending on your ethnicity or your race, your body may not be, the size 0 that they draw in anime. So you feel like, oh, maybe I can't really dress like that character because I don't really look like them, and I don't really fit it, and I just want everybody to break out of that. You should be able to cosplay whoever you want. We cosplay because cosplay is for everyone. There is colorism within this community. There is racism, there is fat phobia, all of that exists within the community. And it doesn't just exist within the cosplay community, it exists everywhere. It does not matter where you go, those things unfortunately are things that we deal with on a day-to-day life. And our first step is admitting that there is a problem within the community. That is the #1 step, is admitting that there is an issue. We're all here because we enjoy cosplay. Everyone here obviously looks amazing. And you're here because you like it. You enjoy what you do. So you should be able to enjoy it through and through. Why is cosplay different for people of color? So the worst thing I always hear all the time is so-and-so character is not Black. We get it. I know Usagi is not Black. I understand that. I still want to cosplay her.
She gonna be Black today.
Exactly. The cosplay hashtag, specifically on TikTok, because TikTok is the biggest platform, social media platform that we're all using these days. Not Peter Griffin.
Hey, how's it going? Hey. I'm gonna sit right here. Hey.
obviously TikTok is the biggest social platform that I think a lot of us either use or know about. And it's kind of disheartening when you get on that app and you hit the hashtag cosplay and you see one reoccurring thing. It does not feel good. Social media does not boost content of brown people. When you click on any of the hashtags, it doesn't even matter who created the trend. Their content will be all the way at the bottom, and the very, very beautiful light skinned, white skinned person will be the first video. And I do not like that. Is there anybody who wants to share an experience that they've had while cosplaying? You can feel free to take the floor. Go ahead.
Not on social media because I don't have a big social media presence, but I have experienced just not only for my skin tone, but like my height and my body type. Just comments about like, I wasn't in this particular cosplay, but like another year, another version of this character. Someone was like, you should be the X character instead, because they're short like you. And this and that, and I've cosplayed other people in the past where they were obviously lighter skinned, or there's this thing where I would cosplay darker skinned characters, but because the cosplay community obviously is like, the white person portraying them, and they portray them a certain way, or like with a wig and whatever. When I cosplay that character and I actually technically look like a more in real life, how that character looks, I wouldn't even recognize. And I was wearing the same outfit.
That is, oh, I hate it. I don't like it. But
I think it's not even just only like, regular like insults. I also think it's the passive aggressive comments where it's like, oh, you're supposed to be this person, or the looks of disgust that you would get. Like, it's just, oh yeah, I guess you're supposed to be that person, because it's like, it bothers them when you don't exactly look like the character and it's cosplay. It's supposed to be fun. So
yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, if you grew up in this country, you have racism embedded into your brain. But like talking about like when you click on a hashtag for a character, it's always like a white person. And sometimes even when it's like a canonically like darker tone person or like a canonically black person, you'll click on the hashtag and the most popular video is a white person coming up. And I feel like no one ever like talks about how that affects the people of color who also want to cosplay those people. And because I remember just this one time when I was like really early into the fandom, I was cosplaying Levine from Genshin Impact, and I was like, why? Like, is there a weird filter? Oh no, I'm just Mexican. I felt like too tan to be in the cosplay, and like it was just like it wasn't a good feeling. And like I looked really pretty objectively, but like in my brain was like, your skin should be lighter, and I was just like, I don't like that I'm feeling that right now.
No, that is definitely something that I've dealt with before too. I think just because I've been cosplaying so long. The first character I ever cosplayed was Usagi from Sailor Moon. I just love magical girls. I went to Anime Boston with my older brother. It was a much smaller convention back then, not anything what it is now. And when we were inside, somebody had pulled me to the side and was like, oh, who are you supposed to be? And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to be Usagi. And I'll never forget it because I was so young. And he looked me up and down and he was like, Usagi isn't black. And remember, it is a different time, 2007, where people would just say whatever was on their mind with no repercussions. And I remember just being a kid and thinking like, oh, I can't do this because I'm black. Like, I'm not allowed to dress as these characters. And I remember going home and I was really upset, and I was like going through YouTube, because we used to watch anime on YouTube back then, and looking for black anime characters. And anime is Japanese. It's not something that is catered to Western audiences. Now, little by little, they're starting to do that, which I'm very, very grateful for. But back then, you kind of just had whatever you had. And when you cosplay, you're cosplaying because you love a character. That's how you feel close to your character. I feel like this is the best way to feel as close as possible, is cosplaying. And for me, I cosplay because it makes me feel powerful, it makes me feel beautiful, and it's fun. I enjoy it. It's a hobby that I have. The same way that people collect dolls or the same way that people play tennis, I cosplay. It's something that I thoroughly enjoy. And I'll never forget that moment. And I think that is what drove me to make sure I continue to cosplay for little girls like me who are looking for somebody who looks like them. They could be like, oh, she's cosplaying even though she's brown. Like, I could do that. She has her natural hair out. I could do that too. And I think that that is like the most important thing. These are just some examples, and I want you guys to kind of just look at what these images kind of look like. All I searched was cosplay or cosplayers. This one is the Google search that was of May 2024. And then the other screenshot is off of the Anime Boston website, where you just click on images and I picked the most busiest day, which was Saturday. If you guys can see a reoccurring theme with the people in these images. The next one is TikTok. There is something that we're seeing here that is very, very obvious, and that is the lack of diversity. The lack of diversity. I am so sick of it. It's honestly getting to a point now where I'm understanding that like people are trying, but when a convention as big as Anime Boston, we see all the people who look like us there. You see people of all different sizes and different colors. Why is it that we're only choosing certain people to put at the forefront? Why is it that whiteness is the face of cosplay? That is the biggest issue. And it's not just white, it's also the very skinny, beautiful, on point, like you have to be, stitch by stitch, exactly like the character. And that's not what cosplay is about. You mentioned Genshin Impact. I have tried to do Genshin Impact before, and getting into that community is I've never experienced something like that. It's very East Asian. Like, if you are not a light-skinned East Asian with money, you are not welcomed into that group. And that shouldn't be how it is. When you're cosplaying, you're looking for community. That is the best part about cosplaying, is meeting amazing people and getting to feel like, oh my goodness, I found like a found family. I get to just be myself with all these people, and yeah, I'm a little weird and I'm saying some weird things, and I have a crazy wig on and some bunny ears. But regardless, everyone here respects me, and it's really sad, and it's kind of disheartening when, as a POC, you feel like you don't have space within the community. And the word community is what it's all about. So we should have, some representation over here. And it brings me to the point of, we see ourselves in these characters. We cosplay because we want to, and because we want a safe space to do it. It's so much more than looking like said character. I know it's very easy to get stuck in the, oh, well, maybe I should put on a wig, and maybe I should, I don't know, maybe I should lose a little bit of weight before this con, so that way, like, I can look more like the character, and I don't want to go into the sun and get too tan, and that's not what it's about, Me personally, the characters that I choose to cosplay are ones that I hold near and dear to me. All the characters that are on the screen are all ones that I've cosplayed before. They all have special meaning to me, even if it was just one scene that stuck out to me. But these characters are embedded in my heart forever. I love these characters. I know you guys are looking at Sukuna and wondering why he's up there, but I just love the fact that he's strong and he stands by everything that he does. And that's a man. I love him so much.
Think they're looking good.
Peter Griffin, please.
Who let this man in? I let myself in. Hi, how's it going? Love yourself.
Getting to feel feel is cool or strong or just getting to wear a really cute outfit sometimes is really what it's all about. Like I genuinely feel that sometimes we get stuck in this space where you don't feel like you're good enough. And I never want anyone to feel like that. Like I'm speaking to you guys as if I'm speaking to the young version of me who was really looking for a space like this. And oh, I'm getting emotional. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, but it's just this is just so important because I'm seeing like a young person over here, and I'm so glad that like they have a space like this. This is just so nice. Are there any characters that any of you guys have ever cosplayed that you have held like very, very true to you? Yes.
I cosplayed Bruno Madrigal from Chicago with my friend who was Dolores, and actually it was like our first time together cosplaying, and that was so special because I'm a teacher, so like the kids were like so about it at Anime Boston like a year or two ago, and it was just it was beautiful.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Yes, go ahead.
Ichiko, the first Bunkai version, and the reason it was so dear to my heart was, especially that arc, he's doing it for someone he considers his friend, and he's willing to do so much because in my life, friends have been so important to me that I was like, no, I've got to do this. Also, the fact that he also didn't have a giant sword in that version made it a lot easier.
A lot easier when you don't have to carry something big.
It still was a long one, but I was like, oh, I can carry this.
Right? Yes, Andy, go ahead.
The cosplay I'm wearing right now, Dipper from Gravity Falls. He means a lot to me, even though he's a little white boy. I'm really glad I'm able to cosplay him.
Because it's a character that you love, and it just means so much. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to cosplay these characters? And yes.
Oh wait,
No, go ahead. Okay. The floor is open. I want to hear everybody's voices.
It would definitely be Psyche K because it was like one of my cosplays that I actually felt. Well, it was like one of my first cosplays. It wasn't my very first one, but it was one of my first that I felt comfortable to actually leave the house in and actually go to a convention. And I don't know. I love Psyche, and just having compliments on it made me feel good because I felt like I'm a black woman cosplaying a Japanese boy. Like, this feels weird. I was like, I don't think I'm nailing this. I got very self-conscious, but like, I liked it.
I love that. You had your hand up.
Yeah, mine is Katara, who I have right now. I have been cosplaying Katara for 10 years, I think 11 years. She was my first cosplay. I keep wearing her. Katara was one of the first characters that I looked at and said, that's me. Like, I saw myself in a way that I never, and I watched a lot of animation growing up. I was like, oh, that's me. Like, and I'd never had that experience as like a brown person because the characters tend to not, there's like one token brown person maybe in a show. If you're lucky, especially like back in the 90s, early 2000s. So yeah, being Katara is very special to me. Both because I look like her, so I feel that connection, but also who she is as a character as well.
So just a question for everybody, just out of curiosity. Do you guys tend to feel safer when you guys cosplay somebody who looks like you, who's browner or bigger? Like, do you guys tend to feel safer in spaces, or does it not matter? I know for myself, when I first started, I started off like when I go into bigger conventions and really getting into cosplay, I stuck with characters like Miriko from My Hero, and like anybody who was just kind of brown or just a little bit thicker. I just kind of felt safer. I've definitely broken out that shell and I just cosplay whoever I love. But did you guys ever find yourselves doing that? Just out of curiosity.
Well, for me, and it kind of goes back to why I did Ichigo, was obviously I'm not a carbon copy of him, but I'm like, okay, first of all, he has red hair, so it's like, yeah, he's someone who has red, but it also like felt like, okay, it kind of felt like, for lack of a better term, I was wearing a shirt that was in my size. It wasn't tailored to me, but I'm like, oh, this still fits.
Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so this kind of answers both questions. Like, one of my favorite characters is Monkey D. Luffy, and recently, if you've seen the live action, he's portrayed by a Latino actor. But also, since I've been watching One Piece forever, I already knew that Oda Sensei had cast him as a Brazilian South American Latino in the first place. So I was always comfortable portraying him like before the live action came out, but like what you were just saying, now that the live action is out and a Latino actor is like portraying the same character, I feel like I was already kind of confident with Ruth, but I feel more confident because I feel like I'm sharing the same like euphoria that you could so clearly see it in Yaki when he portrays it.
Yes.
I don't know if I would say I feel less safe cosplaying like non-brown characters. I feel more self-conscious. It's almost like I'm aware that other people might be thinking, oh, that character's not brown. I'm thankful that I've never had an experience of someone telling me that, so I'm so sorry that happened to you. It's awful. But I'm definitely thinking about it more. Whereas when I'm Katara, even compared to like other characters, Katara especially, I feel like I'm
This is
like I feel
me.
embodied. Like I feel that true self-confidence. That I also cosplay other characters like Risa Hawkeye, for example, who is white and blonde, and I like doing that cosplay, and I feel cool and confident, but not to the same level.
Extent as Katara. Okay. Yes.
You know what I think it is? I think it's because when you are cosplaying like the non-brown characters versus the actual brown ones, when you're doing non-brown, I feel like there's more of a pressure to make it more accurate. That like when you're doing the brown ones, you can kind of get away with just being yourself or whatever, because that's you. But like with the non one, it's like you really have to nail it, or people are gonna say, or people are gonna look at you weird, and are you not gonna feel confident in your cosplay, and you want to feel confident in your cosplay. But for me, I would say I was feeling nervous about it, but it got to my, I was like, I don't care. I was like, when I cosplay, it's this character as a black woman. That's it.
It's like that sound on TikTok. Nana isn't black. She can be black today. Sorry, but my notes back together. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I just like to have everybody being able to have a voice, because not very often do we have a voice when we're in this community. So that's the only reason why I'm very like interactive with everybody. What is the root of the issue? Obviously, racism is the first one. Colorism following, fat phobia, and then the tolerance. And the tolerance is for anybody who is hearing these things, seeing these things, and not speaking up. Your voice is very, very important when you're seeing these things. So the racism comes in when you see somebody who is of a darker complexion. They're cosplaying, we'll say, Psyche K. You mentioned Psyche K. And you see someone look and they're like, I don't know, they should have picked somebody else because they don't look like Psyche K. Why? You're saying you're being racist. You're being racist and you're being colorist. The fat phobia, I cannot stand. I do not like it. It gets under my skin. I used to be a lot larger than what I am now, so I have experienced both sides of it. Obviously, I am not a 00, but I am very, very happy, very comfortable, and I eat very well. Thank you. I think that the fat phobia really goes into the thing of POC, just because I think very often people forget that as a person of color, depending on your race, your ethnicity, your body is going to be different. When you go to Japan, the extra large is a size 3 over here. That is ridiculous. When you order off of AliExpress, if I get something off of AliExpress, I usually go between a large and an extra large. I have to get a 4XL, and sometimes that still does not fit. So the fat phobia has so much to do with everything. It has so much to do with everything. And cosplaying as a person of color, all of this goes in together. It is a very silly quote, but like the MBTA says, if you see something, say something. If you overhear a negative comment, all it ever takes is, hey, that was kind of rude. And very, very quickly, you will see a switch up of, oh no, I meant, no, we heard you and we knew exactly what you meant. Do not say that again. And sometimes that's really all it takes. I'm never telling anybody to put themselves in a very scary situation of arguing with somebody. It's never worth it. Your safety is important to everybody. You have somebody to go home to, you have family who loves you. It's never worth it. But standing up for what you believe in is something that I think all of us understand, especially with anime. There are so many characters who will always stand up for the little guy. And like in Full Metal Alchemist. Besides, I think people should try to ignore their race and just treat each other as equals. We are all equals. There's no reason why in the cosplay community we should be allowing anything like this to happen. And realizing that there is a root to these issues is one of the first things that you can do, because the racism does exist, the fat phobia does exist, the colorism exists, and the tolerance of our counterparts exist. If you have friends who do not speak up for you, those people are not your friends within this community. They are not there for you. Because there is no reason I should be sitting with a friend and somebody comes up to me and says, oh, you would look so much better if you were skinnier. Or, you know, if you didn't wear your natural hair and like put on a straight wig, you would look so much better. And if my friend is sitting there allowing it, that is not your friend. That's not your friend. You do not need people like that around you in the community. You should be allowed to be safe whenever you are cosplaying. And that is one of the biggest things I really want you guys to take away. What can we do and how can we do it? All of this kind of speaks for itself, so I don't really have much notes here. Like I said, speak up when you hear something. There are a lot of communities and groups that center around people of color. Like, there's so much, and when I was doing the research for this panel, I found a lot more than just the ones that I'm already involved in. And I think this is a great starting point. We now have a panel at POPCult that is about being a person of color while cosplaying. And I promise I will come back next year. I want to make sure that there is always an open space for these type of discussions. I was really, really sad when I saw that there wasn't one my first year. And then by my second year, I was like, okay, something will be there. And there wasn't. But this year, I said, I don't care. I will create the space. I do not care. Sometimes it is you putting your first foot forward. And very, very soon, people will follow behind you. Because it's just one of those things where it is very scary, you know, to put your front foot forward. It doesn't always feel the best when you have to sit in front of people and say scary words like racism and fat phobia and point at people and say, that's racist. It doesn't feel good and it is very scary, but somebody does have to do it, you know? Next is obviously following brown and black creators on socials. When you are curating your social media, it's very easy to put yourself in a very, very scary, deep space when you're only following those popular white people who are looking just like the character, you know? Their comments are full of just like, you look just like that person, you look just like Hidagawa, you look just like Diva. And then, you know, you cosplay and you look nothing like that person. That does not feel good. I've been in that situation, and what has gotten me out of it is following more people who look like me, who are part of different communities, people who stand up for these things. It's honestly the best way to get inspiration as well. There are some characters where even on AliExpress you will not find that cosplay, but you find somebody who kind of looks like you and they're like, oh, so like I did this and I wore this and I put my natural hair in this, and it works. And it's honestly made the internet so much more enjoyable for me. So I do highly recommend that you guys follow black and brown creators. It is the best way that you are going to have a healthy, yes.
Well, no, I was just going to comment a quick way to do it. I found this because I kind of went through, as much as a white man can go through this journey, is I did want to do that, and somehow one of the cosplayers I followed had shared hashtag 28 days, 28 days of cosplay.
Yes.
That tag then showed, because often a lot of people in that circle would also do it, so it's a good way to find at least okay, you're the ones in this community.
Exactly. That is a great point. 28 days of cosplay. My favorite time of the year on TikTok.
Say, well, Instagram, but yes.
Yeah. So, where I think they do it everywhere now.
Yeah.
But the 28 days of cosplay are my favorite days. My whole feed is full of brown people cosplaying the entire month of February, and I love it. I love it. I see that you're kind of confused, so I'm going to explain.
We hadn't heard of it.
Oh, you haven't heard of it?
And she follows a lot of people of color.
Okay, so let me explain a little bit about the 28 Days of Cosplay. So 28 Days of Cosplay is, it happens during Black History Month, where Black creators who obviously cosplay, they post a different cosplay every single day. And how it started is because there is a lack of diversity within cosplay, like we've been speaking about. And we have taken over that hashtag, and for 28 days you are going to see every character black. You are going to see a black Goku, you are going to see a black Gojo, you are going to see any character that you can think of. They will be black today, whether you like it or not. They will be black today. And it's just a beautiful way that the internet has come together to like see everything. I love seeing that online now. We're creating safe spaces for ourselves, which is so important, because the internet is not a safe space. It is very scary. It is very toxic. But next is continuing to post your content regardless of the negative comments. Did you have a question, honey?
No, I was going to tell you that you have inspired me, because I am a DEI coach at a middle school.
Oh.
And a lot of times my daughter got me, two daughters, they got me into like coming to these cons and everything. And a lot of times I ask some students, like, are you into like anime, you know, my students of color? And then sometimes I tell them, hey, like, you know, I cosplay with my daughter or whatever else. And then they kind of feel like it's a safe space. And I do work where I recognize all the diversity awareness months at the school, and I take pictures of the kids so they can see themselves. And I'm like, during February, I should do this, because I try to reach out to kids in different like affinity groups. And so people, you know, some of the kids of color are maybe into anime or can see like, oh, look at this cosplayer with, you know, that's black, that's brown. So I am going to make a display.
I love that. I love that. That's what it's all about. We see, we're just sharing these things, and we're making safer spaces, especially for younger people. We all remember what it was like to be young and cosplaying and not having a space for us. So it's so nice that we can do this now for the youth, and I love that so much. Where was I? Continuing to post your content regardless of negative comments and numbers. I know it is so scary posting yourself and putting yourself online. It is a terrifying thing to do. I know a lot of us, we see people like living their best lives, posting their content out there, and a piece of us is like, oh my goodness, like I want to cosplay as my job. Like I would love to be able to do this as a job and just cosplay and just post myself all day. But you know, it's scary. Like I'll post something and I'll get a comment like, oh, you look like that character if he was the Michelin Man. God forbid that I have a little weight on me and I can't dress as a character. It is very scary. It is very scary. But that should not stop you from putting your content out there. It is as easy as a block. And I know it's very easy to say that and say not to dwell on it, because I have done that. I have stared at comments. I've thought about deleting them and then reporting them and then leaving them up, and I'm like, no, I want them to know that I don't care. But then thinking back, like, no, this is actually really scary and I really don't like this comment, and I keep thinking about it. It's very, very scary. But post your content. There are people out there who will support you. Anytime I see a negative comment, my friends can attest, I'm the first one to be like, shut up. Shut up right now. I do not care. I am a very vocal person when it comes to things that I care about. And I care about the mental health of people of color very, very much. So I will defend a person to the depths of heck if I have to. It's never been an issue for me. So please post your content, because if there is one of me, there are 10 of me. Somebody will be in your comment section rooting for you. because I know I root for everybody who's willing to put themselves out there, because it's very, very hard to do. I understand that, and obviously there are people who understand that because we're all in this room together. And keep cosplaying. Cosplay. Don't give up cosplaying just because it is a scary place. Do not give up on cosplaying just because you've gotten some negative comments. You cosplay because you love it, and it does something for each and every one of us. It may not be as deep for one person as the next, but it fulfills something in each and every one of us. Do not stop cosplaying just because of the negative comments. I will forever be a cosplayer. I will be the person who is 85 in my walker, and you will see me dressed as Supernova just trying to get through. I will do it forever. I do not care. There are different communities available. One is DreamCon and RDC World. I will get more into DreamCon specifically, but there are communities available. Like I had mentioned, I am a Twitch streamer, and I am actually now a part of the Twitch Black Guild. There are, thank you. I'm just trying to get a bag like everybody else. There are communities everywhere. Discord groups, Facebook groups. The one that is here for the Facebook group is literally called Cosplaying While Black. I'm in that group. There's I think 6,000 members in there. People post their cosplays and they get hyped up. And people will give you advice like, oh, I see that your thing is kind of falling apart, or the stitching is wrong. Try this stitch or try this. Oh, you don't want to wear a wig? Do your hair like this and it'll sit up perfectly and it'll look just like this. There is so much out there. The internet, though it is scary, has created spaces where I can talk to somebody all the way in California who will understand me and will respect me within this community. So that is why I say join the different communities. Even if you're just lurking. I'm in so many Discord groups and I just lurk in there. I just like to just see what everyone's doing. I'll put a little a little emo, and I go about my day. But there are different communities available out there. I do have a Discord. It is more centered around my personal Twitch, where it's more of a gaming channel. But everybody there is very, very welcoming. If you're ever looking for a space, please feel free. There is a slide on there that'll have it there, or you can just talk to me afterwards and I can send you an invite. These are some creators to follow. All of these people are my mutuals, and I did meet them at different conventions. Each one of these people cosplay. So for your screen left to right, you have, I can never say his Ayuhism. He is an amazing cosplayer. He started cosplaying in, I believe, 2020. So he is a newer cosplayer. He has grown exponentially on social media. One of the sweetest people you will ever meet. If you ever are in his comment section, he will talk back with you if you have questions. He tries to respond to everybody as best as he can. Izany.jpg is a sweetheart. We became mutuals on TikTok. She advocates a lot for plus size individuals who cosplay. I thought that was just so cool, the fact that she is willing to put herself out there. She's talked about it. If you go through her TikTok, how many times she's gotten negative comments and how hard it was to continue posting, and eventually, she just let it go and was like, I'm gonna cosplay. I like this, I like doing it, and you're hating because I get numbers and you don't. And it's true, she does. She gets those numbers and she is super amazing. I love her so, so much. And then Summer Drew, who I met at DreamCon. She is the nicest girl. She likes to show off how you can cosplay with your natural looks. And sometimes she'll wear a wig. A lot of times she won't, because she wants you to see her hair. She's beautiful. She's showcasing who she is. And thank you so much, Annie. She's showcasing who she is as a person, and I think that is just super, super beautiful. So there's a ton of creators out there, honestly. These are just creators that I know personally, so I feel safe sharing them with you guys, knowing that they are good people. And you don't have to worry about scrolling far down and seeing something like, Oh my god, they said this before with these people. I promise they are good. DreamCon. DreamCon, I hold very, very specific, near and dear to me. My first DreamCon was in, what year was that, Chrissy? 2021?
2022.
2022.
I like 2023. Sorry. Sorry.
This was our second year going. And we actually just got tickets for the third year. DreamCon is beautiful. I'm just gonna read this quick little paragraph on here just to give you guys a better idea. Originally, we were planning on visiting anime comic conventions as guests to meet and interact with our fans in a fun setting. However, many of these conventions, except for a small few, were either ignoring us or turning us away and saying that we didn't fit in. So we decided from there that instead of making excuses or complaints, we would create our own bigger, better convention. This convention will be for everyone, whether you are black, white, brown, purple, or green like Piccolo. This is from their website. It stood out to me specifically because it says we wouldn't fit in. And very often we find that we don't fit into these spaces. And we don't have panels like this for us to be able to speak and have a place for us to fit in. DreamCon is my absolute favorite con after anime, POPCult, obviously. But it is one of my favorite conventions. It is run by RDC World, which stands for Real Dreamers Change the World, excuse me. It consists of these gentlemen over here. As you can see, they're obviously all black and brown creators. They started off with YouTube videos and skits. You guys probably know them for like their anime house.
Oh, them!
Yes, that is them. They are very, very funny. A little risque sometimes, but they are amazing individuals. I have found that is one of the safest I have ever felt at a convention. It is just full of beautiful, kind, brown people of different shapes and sizes. And I love Anime Boston. Do not get me wrong. I will always love Anime Boston. It was the first place I've ever cosplayed at. But I don't ever feel like I have a space that I belong there sometimes. And I find myself kind of just standing to the side, which does not feel good. At DreamCon, I never question if I should wear a wig. I never question which anime. The only question I ever have is, oh my god, which character should I choose? That is the only thing that I ever question. This past year, it had over 24,000 people in attendance. It is a huge convention. It started off a couple years back with about 500 people, and they've grown to this extent. It was in Austin this past year, and this upcoming year in May it'll be in Houston, Texas, with a much bigger venue because that is just how well they're doing. I definitely recommend that you guys check out DreamCon. There are other conventions though. There's not just DreamCon, there's MomoCon, there's BlurredCon. There are conventions that are dedicated and ran by black and brown people. Don't ever feel like you only have to go to those mainstream ones. Like Anime Boston, like I said, I love it. I will never sit here and bash Anime Boston. Do I feel the safest there? Not always. But I do enjoy cosplaying, and that's one of those places where I can cosplay. So I'm going to. Any
Good question.
questions? Yes.
Yeah. Well, this is someone, again, from my perspective, is, yes, I love Anime Boston. It was also my first con. Anime Boston is so goddamn white. I love it, but it is very white.
It is.
But interesting enough, I don't know if this is my experience, I've only done East Coast cons. I find Southern conventions seem to at least be like, I'll pick Otakon. There's more of a mix. It's still not it's not like DreamCon or BlurredCon,
Yeah.
but have you found, depending on where you go in the country, the ratio changes, or it's just...
Definitely. I have gone to conventions in California. Conventions in California tend to be a lot more East Asians. So they don't always feel the most welcoming there, unfortunately. But any of the conventions that I go to down south, I always have a great time. I have myself a ball. It's just nice to see more diversity because the city that I grew up in Brockton. There is nothing but diversity over there. You will meet everyone and anyone from every background. So whenever I go to places like Anime Boston, it just feels kind of odd because I'm like, oh, there is a lot of white people here. Like this is crazy, and it's just not something that I'm personally used to, and I feel like I'm still getting used to it sometimes. But any of like this down south ones, I always have a great time, and it's just nice to see a good mix of people. Because I'm never saying to have a convention where we're putting up signs like saying no whites. Absolutely not. I'm never gonna be a person who's gonna say something like that. I really believe in diversity, and I think that you need a healthy balance of everybody to be able to understand experiences and understand where people are coming from. But it is nice to see a good mix. So to your question, down south, I do find that I do have a better, funner time versus anywhere else.
Yeah, because it's again, Otacon's, for those who don't know, Otacon's in Washington, D.C., so you kind of get that part of the world.
Exactly. You're getting like the whole DMV is over there. So it's a lot of fun, honestly.
Which I recently found out that term because I listened to someone say DMV, I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh.
You're like, oh, so motor vehicles. That's what
Yeah, that's my first
okay.
thought. I'm like, it's a DMV. I have to do staff duties, but thanks for doing
Yes, of course.
this.
Thank you so much for stopping by. We're actually getting close to wrap up. I just want to end it with this. Please keep cosplaying and creating. Pochita believes in you. I believe in you. Curate your social media. If you are posting and you want to start posting more, please curate your social media. On TikTok, you can mute certain words. I have the word black muted. I have the N-word muted because you will not be calling me out of my name. I promise you that. I have now big back because that is the new thing. So I have big back muted. It's the but like you can curate and make your spaces as safe as you want. You could block whoever the heck you want. You do not have to tolerate disrespect online. You do not have to tolerate it. That block button is free. And I promise you, my fingers work quick. I will block anybody who I think it does not deserve to have me on their social media. So block those words. Like you can still post whatever you want and still have a safe space for you to post. Whatever words are triggering for you, mute them. Or you could turn off if it gets to the point where you feel like you need to turn off your comments. Turn off your comments. Some of my posts, my comments are off. Why? Because I don't want to hear anything you have to say. You think that I don't see what I look like every day? I see what I look like every day. I understand that I am a black woman. You do not have to remind me. I see it in the mirror. You do not have to remind me I'm not a 00. I understand that and I love that. I like how I look. I enjoy who I am. And you will not sit there and pummel me down just because you feel like it. So curate your space. That is so important. And you can become the change that you want to see. There was no space here, which is why I fought very long and hard to, that's what she said, so sorry. Childish. But I really went back and forth deciding if I wanted to do this panel. I actually do not enjoy public speaking, even though it may seem like I'm just like, yeah guys, let's all talk. I am actually a very, very shy, kept to myself person. But I deserve to have a space like this, and you guys deserve to have a space like this. So you can do this. You can create these spaces for yourselves as well. All I did, I saw that they said, hey, we're posting the application if you want to run a panel. I said, you know what? Let me just apply. Let me see what happens. And now I'm here presenting in front of all of you beautiful people. So you can create these spaces for yourselves. Do not feel like it is impossible. You can do these things. Even if it's just like a meetup. Like, I have a friend, his name is Jack. You guys have probably seen him around chasing people down, doing videos and content. He does events at like cafes. Like he'll do cosplay events where you just meet up and drink coffee and talk in your cosplays. Like there are things that you can do to create these spaces for yourselves. do not think that it's impossible. You know, there's that, what is the Shel Silverstein quote? Listen to the mustn'ts, listen to the won'ts, but listen to me, anything is possible. I'm just kind of using some of the words. I don't know it by heart, but I think about that poem daily. You can choose, you know, to sit here and listen to those negative comments and let them define you. Or you can choose to put your foot down and be the change that you want to see. We are just one person, but together, I feel like right now, if we wanted to, we could probably take over this convention with the people in this room. So always, always, always trust and believe in yourself. Please keep cosplaying. Please keep creating. I want to come here next year and see that one of you guys come up to me like, oh my goodness, I blew up on TikTok and I'm low-key TikTok famous. Oh, I'm gonna love that for you. I want you guys to do well. I want you guys to continue to do the things that you guys love. I want to see you get older and still be cosplaying and enjoying who you are, being who you are. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much. Like I said, this was my first panel that I have ever hosted. That is just some of my social media. I do post a lot of my cosplays, but my day-to-day life, honestly. That is my Discord. If you would like the link to my Discord, you could just come see me and I will send you the link. I have no problem with that. I do stream on Fridays on Twitch. It's usually every Friday. And it is a very safe space for Black people and brown people. So if you want to be in there and not have to worry about being called the N-word by a random 13-year-old, I promise you will not be called that on my stream, because my moderators are quick and you will get blocked. You will get blocked. So please do not try that with me. Were there any questions, comments, concerns? No? Okay, well, that was pretty much it. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing for being here and be the change that you guys want to see. Please, 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 if you take anything from this, continue to create, continue to be the change that you want to see, and continue to be you. That is the most important thing. Be you and be true to who you are.